pretty wife now, and she's really shy, and she's really pretty.
The words he's used, she's very shy and she's really pretty. I'm like, well, good for you.
The tension was palpable, almost tangible, as Kody Brown and Robyn sat across from each other at the dinner table, the dim lighting accentuating every shadow on their faces. Kody leaned in slightly, his voice calm, but with an undertone that made every word heavy with implication. "There's something special here, right here," he said, gesturing subtly, and Robyn, cautious, asked questions, seeking clarity, seeking reassurance. And in that moment, what the cameras captured, and what the viewers immediately sensed, was the dangerous dance of contradiction. On one hand, Kody claimed the beauty and uniqueness of their connection, yet on the other, he hinted that if this relationship could not fulfill him, he would look elsewhere. Even in this intimate setting, the emotional stakes were sky-high, the tension almost unbearable, and the audience was drawn instantly into the intricate web of manipulation, desire, and power. To fully grasp the dynamics of Kody and Robyn's relationship, one must first examine the complex intersection of monogamy versus polygamy. Both have publicly claimed that a monogamous life was never truly their choice, yet, paradoxically, for years they have lived as monogamists, a fact that constantly complicates the narrative. Robyn frequently reminds Kody that he is only married within the context of polygamy, a pointed reminder that keeps Kody in a state of subtle psychological unease, questioning his own significance and authority within the family structure. This is not simply tension, it is a mechanism of control, where Robyn exercises emotional leverage and Kody, in response, amplifies the pressure with his own contradictory behavior, leaving both parties in a constant state of unresolved uncertainty. The question of Kody's allocation of time and sense of responsibility further highlights the imbalances at play. Even in emergencies, like situations involving his daughter Truly, Kody prioritizes being with Robyn rather than attending to Christine's children, showcasing a pattern of deliberate neglect. This is not accidental. It is a calculated prioritization that reflects his partiality, a manipulative technique that subtly reinforces Robyn's dominant position while marginalizing the other women and children in his life. The impact of such choices is profound. Relationships are strained, loyalty is tested, and trust erodes, all while maintaining a veneer of normalcy for public consumption. Meanwhile, the carefully curated public image crafted by Janelle and Mary demonstrates another layer of deception and theatricality. Their persistent attempts to present Kody in a positive light, a polished, heroic figure, are in stark contrast to the reality Christine exposes. Through her unfiltered accounts, it becomes painfully clear that the narrative presented on screen is largely a staged drama, constructed for maximum viewer engagement. Kody's so-called redemption tours, presented as acts of personal growth or morality, are, in truth, exercises in image management designed to obscure his neglect and infidelity while maintaining an aura of respectability for the audience. The theme of betrayal and justice is another crucial element. Christine's insistence on justice encapsulates the moral thread woven throughout these family dynamics. Those who manipulate, deceive, and prioritize image over substance inevitably face repercussions. Kody and Robyn frequently engineer scenarios to project virtue and fairness, particularly in matters like the handling of the Coyote Path property, which is portrayed as equitable and righteous. Yet, behind the scenes, these are strategic moves intended to manipulate public perception, masking favoritism, self-interest, and the uneven distribution of care and attention within the family. Examining Robyn's character reveals further intricacies. She is often portrayed as silent, self-controlled, and emotionally restrained, yet this composed exterior belies the subtle exertion of influence she wields. Christine's observations highlight that, in contrast to her vibrant and assertive counterpart, Robyn's demeanor is deliberately restrained, a tactical approach that adds drama on screen, but also functions as a mechanism to subtly maintain control over the narrative and Kody's actions. Her presence, often understated, is nonetheless a force that shapes the environment, even as she navigates the pressures of maintaining a public image that aligns with the show's staged expectations. Kody, by contrast, embodies duality at nearly every turn. Outwardly, he strives to appear virtuous, compassionate, and responsible, but in practice, his priorities lie in personal gratification and self-image, often at the expense of his other wives and children. Christine stands as the sole truth-teller, offering an unvarnished view of reality. Her insights illuminate the stark divide between on-screen narratives and the unedited, often uncomfortable, reality of familial life under the scrutiny of a reality show lens. The drama escalates when Kody broaches the subject of adding another woman during a dinner conversation. While Robyn responds cautiously, aware of the emotional implications, Kody's language, both casual and pointed, serves as a form of psychological provocation. He frames his desire as a matter of personal fulfillment and, implicitly, sexual satisfaction, placing Robyn in a position of uncertainty and stress. At 57, Kody's motivations are rooted less in practical or familial considerations, and more in the pursuit of validation, sexual gratification, and the affirmation of youth and vitality, reinforcing a pattern observed across multiple seasons. He evaluates his partners primarily on physical attractiveness and their ability to satisfy his desires. This obsession with image and sexual availability extends beyond Robyn. His history demonstrates a systematic approach. Wives are valued, discarded, or marginalized based on their ability to meet his expectations and maintain their appeal. Robyn, once the trophy wife, now confronts the limitations imposed by age, child-rearing, and life's demands, and Kody's boredom and dissatisfaction become apparent. The pattern is clear. When a wife no longer satisfies, emotionally or physically, he looks outward, often while publicly maintaining a facade of monogamous contentment. The implications for Robyn, the other wives, and the children are profound, as they are drawn into a performance that is simultaneously intimate and performative, personal and public, highlighting the intersecting consequences of control, desire, and manipulation. Robyn's responses, often laughter or subdued humor, may appear as attempts to deflect discomfort or mask awareness of the dynamics at play. Yet, underlying this levity is a constant negotiation of survival within an emotionally volatile environment. Kody's candidness about sexual preferences, his disregard for decorum, and his overt pursuit of other women, juxtaposed with Robyn's calculated restraint, create a narrative rich in tension, contradiction, and drama. The audience witnesses not only the manipulation and gaslighting, but also the subtle, continuous reinforcement of power dynamics, emotional leverage, and control within the household. The stakes extend beyond personal relationships, impacting the psychological and emotional development of children who observe these interactions. Elementary and middle school-aged children are exposed to discussions of infidelity, sexual desire, and manipulation, normalized in the context of televised entertainment. Kody's unapologetic approach, his repeated assertions that he does not care about the impression he makes, and Robyn's complex interplay of compliance, humor, and strategic restraint illustrate a family structure governed by spectacle, self-interest, and performance, rather than mutual respect or accountability. Christine's voice throughout this narrative remains a critical lens through which the audience can interpret the events. Her honesty, willingness to confront deception, and dedication to exposing the discrepancies between on-camera drama and off-camera reality serve as a counterbalance to Kody's manipulation and Robyn's strategic self-restraint. She embodies the moral center, the analytical observer, and the truth-teller, highlighting that in environments dominated by image management and performative compliance, authenticity is rare, costly, and often isolating. By the time the season unfolds, viewers are presented with a tableau of human behavior that is at once enthralling and disturbing. Kody's prioritization of sexual attraction and public image, Robyn's management of perception and compliance, and Christine's unwavering commitment to truth coalesce into a narrative that explores deception, power, betrayal, and emotional survival. Every interaction, every conversation, every calculated smile or grimace functions simultaneously as entertainment, psychological warfare, and a study in relational ethics. The line between performance and reality blurs, leaving audiences to question not only the authenticity of the show, but the very nature of trust, loyalty, and justice within these tightly controlled family structures. The culmination of these dynamics reaches a boiling point in moments like the dinner scene. Her insistence on guarantees, her need for assurance, and her occasional compliance are juxtaposed with Kody's overt focus on sexual desire and superficial attractiveness, revealing a power imbalance that is both intimate and public. This is not mere marital discord. It is a masterclass in emotional leverage, gaslighting, and performative relationship management, unfolding before the watchful eyes of millions of viewers. Through these narratives, the season imparts essential lessons for audiences. Reality television, as this case demonstrates, is rarely a transparent window into private life. Instead, it is a curated, often manipulated performance designed to elicit engagement, drama, and spectacle. Relationships are layered with deception, obligations, and strategic displays of affection, while the true emotional landscape, conflict, neglect, dissatisfaction, remains obscured from casual view. Christine's presence and candor provide the audience with an interpretive framework, a reminder that truth is rarely convenient, often uncomfortable, and in environments dominated by performance and spectacle, honesty is both isolating and vital. The audience learns that within this family structure, dynamics of control, selective attention, and performative compliance intersect with human desire, ego, and survival instincts. Kody's pursuit of sexual validation, Robyn's strategic negotiation of her role, and Christine's commitment to truth-telling coalesce into a story that is simultaneously fascinating, troubling, and instructive. The narrative underscores that in high-stakes relationships, where public image and personal gratification collide, deception, manipulation, and betrayal are inevitable tools, and the cost is borne by those with the least power or voice within the system. Christine's unwavering honesty becomes the narrative's moral compass. She demonstrates that even within a carefully orchestrated reality television environment, where the lines between performance and reality are blurred, truth retains power. It challenges manipulation, exposes hypocrisy, and reminds viewers that personal integrity, though costly, has enduring value. As Kody maneuvers between wives, desires, and self-interest, and Robyn navigates her complex positionality as a wife, mother, and public figure, the season presents a multi-layered study in human behavior, relational ethics, and the pervasive impact of deception and control within families under scrutiny. Audiences are compelled to consider the implications of Kody's choices, not only for the wives directly involved, but also for the broader family ecosystem. Children absorb cues about relationships, power, and emotional negotiation. Public exposure amplifies these lessons, as intimate behaviors, manipulations, and conflicts unfold before millions, normalizing patterns of betrayal and gaslighting. Kody's disregard for the emotional consequences of his actions, juxtaposed with Robyn's attempts to manage perception and Christine's commitment to truth, underscores the complex interplay of image, desire, and ethical responsibility in a high-stakes, highly visible familial context. From the first dinner conversation to the intricate layers of control, deception, and personal ambition that permeate the season, viewers are exposed to a raw, unvarnished exploration of human behavior. Kody's fixation on youth, sexual validation, and public image drives a narrative that impacts multiple lives. Robyn's cautious navigation, punctuated by moments of humor, compliance, and strategic restraint, reveals the emotional toll of sustained relational negotiation under scrutiny. Christine's insight, clarity, and refusal to participate in self-deception serve as a counterbalance, offering a lens through which audiences can discern the complex moral and emotional realities behind the curated spectacle of the show. Christine's voice cuts through the layers of carefully constructed illusion, offering a lens of clarity in a world dominated by staged narratives and image manipulation. She repeatedly emphasizes justice, a refrain that echoes like a moral drumbeat through the chaos of Kody and Robyn's orchestrated lives. For her, the principle is simple yet profound. Those who commit injustice, those who manipulate, deceive, or distort reality, will ultimately face the consequences of their actions. While Kody and Robyn it is not about fairness or justice at all. It is an exercise in image control, a strategic move to craft a positive public persona while obscuring favoritism, neglect, and personal gain. The veneer of virtue hides the very real dynamics of manipulation that pervade the family structure. Robyn's own character is equally layered and complex, often misunderstood by the casual observer. On the surface, she is portrayed as quiet, self-restrained, and emotionally composed, a figure who radiates subtle control. To viewers, this calm and measured demeanor reads as elegance or serenity, adding drama to every interaction. Yet Christine's perspective reveals a different function behind this restraint. Robyn's silence and emotional self-control are not merely stylistic choices, they are tools of influence. Her measured behavior allows her to exert emotional leverage over Kody, to maintain a sense of authority, and to subtly steer situations to her advantage. Christine notes that compared to her own more expressive and assertive personality, Robyn appears less engaging or less captivating to outsiders, but this is precisely the point. Her power is not in overt expression, it is in control, in subtlety, in the strategic withholding of emotional response. To the untrained eye, this may look like disengagement or passivity. In reality, it is a calculated maneuver that keeps Kody, and by extension, the audience, off balance, uncertain, and subject to her influence. Kody, on the other hand, epitomizes duality. He thrives on contradiction, creating a narrative where he is simultaneously the principled, righteous figure and the negligent, self-serving patriarch. On screen, he positions himself as a man of integrity, fairness, and moral compass. Off-screen, as Christine reveals, he prioritizes his desires, his image, and his convenience, often at the direct expense of Robyn, his other wives, and his children. While publicly, he may perform acts of generosity, fairness, or care, privately, his time and attention are unevenly distributed, revealing a calculated preference and partiality. Truly, Kody's duality is a masterclass in manipulation. He maintains the illusion of virtue for the cameras, while systematically neglecting those whose needs require consistent, real engagement. In every sense, Christine serves as the reality anchor, the one person consistently willing to expose the dissonance between performance and truth. She illuminates the gap between the televised narrative of family harmony and moral righteousness, and the private reality, where emotional neglect, favoritism, and self-interest dictate daily life. In her accounts, viewers gain access to the unvarnished dynamics that reality television often conceals, the strategies, the manipulations, and the subtle power plays that operate beneath the public performance. Through Christine's eyes, it becomes impossible to ignore the larger ethical implications. Kody's public persona is a carefully curated performance. Robyn's composed exterior is both a dramatic device and a tool of emotional leverage. The children witness and internalize these complex interactions, and the audience, if discerning, must navigate between staged narrative and hidden reality. Every gesture, conversation, and this subtle, emotionally loaded threat revolves primarily around sexual desire, leaving Robyn caught in a vortex of anxiety, uncertainty, and emotional strain. At 57 years old, Kody's motivations are clear. His pursuit of a new wife is largely driven by physical attraction and sexual gratification. Robyn, who once held the status of the trophy wife, no longer commands the attention or fascination she once did, and as a result, Kody's interest shifts elsewhere. This scenario exposes a pattern of selective attention and bias. Kody's behavior reveals a man who prioritizes his own needs, desires, and public image over the well-being of his wives and children. Robyn, for her part, often attempts to navigate the situation with humor or laughter, masking her discomfort, but the reality is that she is under constant psychological pressure. Kody's continuous double messages, layered with sexual and emotional insinuations, create confusion not only for Robyn, but also for viewers attempting to discern the truth behind the televised drama. This season offers viewers a crucial lesson. Reality television is frequently manipulated and misleading. The interactions of Kody and Robyn, the strategic positive image efforts of Janelle and Mary, and Christine's unwavering commitment to truth combine to form a complex, dramatic, and deeply instructive narrative. Audiences are reminded that speaking the truth is rarely simple, and those who do, like Christine, often find themselves isolated or unpopular for exposing uncomfortable realities. Christine's honesty emerges as the strongest pillar of this season. Through her perspective, viewers gain a rare window into the private dynamics of a family that reality TV often obscures. She reveals how internal family politics, favoritism, emotional manipulation, and selective attention shape daily life in ways that the cameras never fully capture. This insight provides a vital educational component. It illustrates just how deeply stress, control, and biased behavior can infiltrate a household, even one that presents a polished, curated image to the outside world. By examining Kody's self-interest, Robyn's emotional balancing act, and Christine's moral clarity, this season paints a vivid portrait of the complexities of power, desire, and deception within a family setting. For the audience, it is a stark reminder that behind every staged smile and rehearsed interaction lies a labyrinth of strategy, manipulation, and human vulnerability. In this environment, truth becomes a courageous act, exposing the contrast between reality and performance, and challenging viewers to question what they see, believe, and accept as genuine. Thanks for watching. This subtle, emotionally loaded threat revolves primarily around sexual desire, leaving Robyn caught in a vortex of anxiety, uncertainty, and emotional strain. At 57 years old, Kody's motivations are clear. His pursuit of a new wife is largely driven by physical attraction and sexual gratification. Robyn, who once held the status of the trophy wife, no longer commands the attention or fascination she once did, and as a result, Kody's interest shifts elsewhere. This scenario exposes a pattern of selective attention and bias. Kody's behavior reveals a man who prioritizes his own needs, desires, and public image over the well-being of his wives and children. Robyn, for her part, often attempts to navigate the situation with humor or laughter, masking her discomfort, but the reality is that she is under constant psychological pressure. Kody's continuous double messages, layered with sexual and emotional insinuations, create confusion not only for Robyn, but also for viewers attempting to discern the truth behind the televised drama. This season offers viewers a crucial lesson. Reality television is frequently manipulated and misleading. The interactions of Kody and Robyn, the strategic positive image efforts of Janelle and Mary, and Christine's unwavering commitment to truth combine to form a complex, dramatic, and deeply instructive narrative. Audiences are reminded that speaking the truth is rarely simple, and those who do, like Christine, often find themselves isolated or unpopular for exposing uncomfortable realities. Christine's honesty emerges as the strongest pillar of this season. Through her perspective, viewers gain a rare window into the private dynamics of a family that reality TV often obscures. She reveals how internal family politics, favoritism, emotional manipulation, and selective attention shape daily life in ways that the cameras never fully capture. This insight provides a vital educational component. It illustrates just how deeply stress, control, and biased behavior can influence